Hello, welcome back to the second part of our VMware ESXi vSphere infrastructure course outline. So in the first part, we have covered our theoretical concepts as well as our lab setup. Now we are actually getting into the practical mode. Okay, so let's move on. The step one will be we need to create a folder structure in our external drive of base system. So this folder structure will be like simple folder structure, one main folder called VMware, and then inside it three different folders like ADDC, and then ESX host 01, and then ESX host 02. Okay, so I think I have already created that one in my J drive. VMware folder is already there. Inside that I have created these three folders. Okay, 2022DC, ESX host 02, and then ESX host 01. Although all those folders are empty now. Why we have created? We will be storing our virtual machines configurations in those folders. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. So next step is we need to install VMware Workstation. So download and install the latest version of VMware Workstation on our Windows 2022 base system and restart the system once. So this step also I have completed. This is my base system as I told in the earlier part, and I have already installed my VMware Workstation. Okay, so if I'm double clicking on it, so this is a clean installation. I have restarted the machine also. Nothing like straightforward installation of VMware Workstation, and once it is installed you need to restart the machine once, and then this console will be appearing once you are opening it. Okay, so it's a straightforward installation, so I'm not covering much more details for those ones, just to shorten the video length. Okay, so this step is also completed. Now we will be doing the actual practical steps. Okay, so step 3, your launch VMware Workstation main screen, click on edit and then virtual network editor. So I think I have already done this step also, but let me just check. So you need to open the main screen of VMware Workstation, click on edit and virtual network editor. Okay, so now what you can see is I have already created 3 virtual networks, but as of now I will be just explaining you what are those 3 virtual networks and all. So my first network is VMnet 2, that is your NAT, and it is having your range is 192.168.1.0. If you remember, we have explained this particular network range in our lab setup also. So how to create this? Let's say this is not present over here as of now. So how to create a fresh one? You can click on change settings, and now you can add network over here. Click on add network, and then you can choose whatever the VMnet adapters. As of now we have already created VMnet 1, 2 and 3. So this is I think already been created, so let me remove this. So 1, 2 and 3. So as of now just concentrate on VMnet 2, which is a 192.168.1.0 range. Okay, so what is the range? Subnet IP 1.0, subnet mask will be 255. So the VMnet 2 virtual network adapter, once we are installing this VMware Workstation, it will be installed on your local machine also, and it will be getting added on your virtual machines also. So this VMnet 2 will be holding this range 192.168.1. and 1, 2, 3, whatever is thing. So we will be using it for our primary connectivity, and then next one is holding 192.168.10 range, which will be for our HAV motion connectivity. Okay, so don't think too much ahead as of now. Just for network connectivity we have created one NAT VM and one host only VM. So as of now we just need to concentrate on NAT 192.168.1.0. Okay, so this is also completed. we have created this NAT. So this step 4 also we have completed, that in a virtual network adapter we need to click on change settings and add one virtual network adapter as follows: VMnet2 or VMnet, and then type will be NAT, and then subnet IP will be 192.168.1.0.255.255.250. So this is also completed by us. Okay, but when you are doing this lab setup, you need to add it practically. I have already added it, but you need to add it practically. Okay, so next, now we are starting our main practicals. So next one is we need to now create a fresh virtual machine. So through VMware Workstation Pro, click on create a new virtual machine. Okay, so here create a new virtual machine. Next is on welcome to new virtual machine wizard screen, click on custom and click next. So we need to choose the custom option so that we can define the parameters for the new virtual machine. Click next. In the next step, we don't have to change anything. Choose the virtual machine hardware compatibility screen, leave all the default values and click next. So as of now we don't have to change anything. The hardware compatibility is workstation 17.5 or later, that's fine. I will say next. In the next screen on new virtual machine wizard, guest operating system installation screen, choose I will install the operating system later option and click next. See why I'm choosing this one, because sometimes this VMware Workstation is acting over smartly. If I'm giving an ISO over here for my operating system, it will auto detect that operating system and it will try to insert some additional parameters by its own. We don't require that one. We will be installing our operating system by our choice and by our options. Okay, so as of now I'm just choosing I will install the operating system later and say next. So next we need to select the operating system version. So select the guest operating system screen, choose the Microsoft Windows and then Windows Server 2022 and click next. So I will choose Microsoft Windows and then Windows Server 2022 because we will be installing Windows Server 2022 and next. Next is new virtual machine wizard. We need to give some specific virtual machine name and then virtual machine storing location and click next. So here I'm just giving the virtual machine name as, let's say, WIN2022DC, and in the location don't go for the default one. I will go to my external drive and the folder which we have created, I will select that one, Windows 2022 DC. Okay, GA drive and all, and I will say next. So next is your firmware type. So we will be choosing the UEFI, which is a advanced one rather than a basic BIOS. So let it be UEFI and say next. So next is on new virtual machine wizard processor configuration screen, select the appropriate values and click next. So here you can choose how many number of processors you need, how many number of cores you need. So as of now, let's say I'm using 2 number of processors and 2 cores, let's say, just for the better performance. These are all virtual configurations, of course, not physical one, and total processor cores will be 2 plus 2 4, and I will say next. So next is you need to define the virtual machine's RAM over here. So as we said in the lab setup, for this particular virtual machine we will be assigning 16 GB. Now before going for this, let me open that lab setup also, so that you guys will have a better feel of it. So we will be installing our first virtual machine over here, right, in 2022DC, okay, through VMware Workstation, right. So our RAM will be 16 GB. Okay, so coming back to my configuration screen, I will just directly type this is 16 GB, right, over here, and I will say next. So next is we need to assign the network connection, but as of now I'm choosing do not use the network connection. I will add it after the VM creation. So as of now, just choose do not use a network connection. So I will choose that option. I will say next. Next option is on new virtual machine wizard. You need to change your IO controller or SCSI controller type for your hard disk. So as of now, it is automatically taking LSI logic SAS. So let it be like that only. We don't need to change anything, and we will say next. See, recommended means it is already detecting your operating system. So let it be like that. I will say next. So in the next screen we need to choose the disk type. So it is automatically taking NVMe recommended. So we don't need to change that also, and we will say next. In the next screen we need to create a new virtual disk. Since we don't have any existing one, it's a fresh operating system installation, virtual machines operating system installation. So we need to choose the create a new virtual disk and next. So create a new virtual disk, next. Next is we need to define the size of our virtual disk and the type of virtual disk, whether you want to split it in a single file or multiple files. So I want to create it as a single file, so that the copying or the importing in the future of this particular disk will be easier. We don't require to split it with multiple disks. So there is option called split it to the virtual disk into multiple files also. We are not using it. So store virtual disk as a single file, and don't click this allocated all disk also, otherwise it will immediately take your whatever 100 GB or whatever space in your physical hard drive. Okay, so we don't require. Just like in Hyper-V, there is an static hard disk, VHDX, and dynamic hard disk. So here in VMware it is a thin or thick provisioning. So thin means dynamic, that means it will not take your 100 GB immediately, but it will grow up to the 100 GB, up to the size of whatever you are defining over here. So as of now I need to choose this option, store the virtual disk as a single file, and deselect this particular allocate all disk space. Okay, so I will say store the virtual disk as a single file, and I will say next. So next is we need to define the location where we want to save this particular VMDK file. Okay, so we will be choosing the appropriate location which we have already created. So I'm going back here, and you can see by default it is taking some other path, so I'm not getting that one, and I will go to the VMware. I will go to my DC folder, and here I will save this VMDK. Okay, so in a single folder we are saving all our configuration files, our virtual hard disk file, so that in future we can import the whole folder. Okay, I hope I'm clear with this particular step. So next, now here on new virtual machine ready to create a virtual machine screen, click on customize hardware. So here we are not clicking on finish yet, we'll click on customize hardware because we need to add couple of hardwares over here, or we need to change some parameters over here. Okay, let's go back to our PPT. So next is on hardware screen, click on add and then network adapter and finish. So what we have skipped, if you remember, we have chosen not to install the network adapter at the time of VM creation. So here we are adding our network adapter, and I will say network adapter over here, and I will say finish. So one network adapter is added. Okay, but we further need to change something over here. So let's go back to my PPT and back on hardware screen, click network adapter and click on custom and VMnet 2 mat. So if you remember, we have created this VMnet 2 for 192.168.1.x connectivity. That is your primary connectivity, right? So we need to choose that one. Okay, don't choose the default one. Default, it will go for your breached or something like that. Don't choose that one. Choose VMnet mat. Okay, now let's move on to the next step. So still on the hardware screen, click on CD DVD drive and then map your operating system ISO image file for our operating system installation. Okay, so I will go here and I will go to my CD drive. Currently it is auto detecting my physical machine's CD drive, so we don't require that. I will say use ISO image. I will say browse and I will go to my data drive where I have stored all the ISOs and all. So go there. Here I have created one ISO which is updated with the May 2025 patches, so latest one, and I will choose this one. Okay, and now I will say close. Here also we need to click on finish. Okay, so on the next step we need to power on this virtual machine. Here also I will say finish, and now you can see this particular virtual machine has been created. We need to power on it. It will automatically boot from the ISO and we need to start the OS installation. As simple as that. I will say power on and you can see boot from CD DVD. So I have clicked inside and just pressing enter, it will boot from my ISO file, right? So if you want to release, so I cannot move the cursor right now. So if you want to release, you just need to click Control and enter on your keyboard, and now you can see I can move my cursor. Okay, so let's go back to our PPT. So next one is simple. Hit enter under virtual machine if required to start VM booting from ISO that we have already completed. So next step is complete the Win2022 server OS installation as usual. Okay, so I will come back here and let me just make it free stage so that you can view it, or you can go for the full screen also, that's not a problem. And here I will say next, install now. I will not choose to enter product key as of now because it's an emulation version. Accept the agreement. Next, custom. It's a straightforward operating system installation. It is taking 60 GB by default, so no problem. You can increase it if you also want later on. I will say next and finish the operating system installation. So I will go back to my normal mode and let it complete. I am just pausing this video as of now. Once this is completed, I will come back to you with the next step. Okay, so I will minimize this and let it complete. Once this is completed, I will come back to you with the next step. Okay, so welcome back. So you can see over here our OS installation is getting completed. Let it boot. And now we will finish our OS installation. So just entering the local admin password. And now OS is almost ready. So I will click on I finish installing over here first, and then for this control all del functionality we need to click on control all insert over here. So I'm just logging with my local admin account of my first VM. Okay, why I'm giving you all those basic stuff? Because my way of teaching the things are right from the scratch. Okay, I can simply build the operating system already, and I can directly go through that ESX host installation and all. That will be a too smart move from me, but I'm not preferable for those options. Let me go step by step. You can find my videos always in detail mode, not on shortcut modes. Okay, so let's now move on to the next step. Now since we have installed our first VM's operating system 2022. Okay, so let me first disable this option. Say okay. Okay, close this one. Now let's move on to the next step. So next step is once this OS installation gets completed, map the VMware tools ISO if required, and install your VMware tools on DC VM. Okay, so why we required VMware tools to be installed, it will give us a better options like network connectivity, your mouse functionalities and all. So I will go to the settings. Here on a CD DVD drive, I will go on browse, and I will go to my VMware tools ISO. Okay, so VMware tools, say okay, and now I will open it through my file explorer. You can see the VMware tools ISO has been mapped. Okay, so it's a simple straightforward installation. Through my DC system. Remember, this is a plain virtual machine Windows 2022 server we have just installed. Now we are installing our VMware tools. So I will say complete, next, install. And I will say finish. Okay, so it will ask me for the restart. I will say restart. So by the time it is restarting, let's move on to our next step. So this step we have already completed. We have installed the VMware tools and restarted our VM also. So next step is through my virtual machine, I need to change my host name. So we need to change that host name to Win2022DC. Okay, so I will just log in. And it's a simple procedure to change the virtual machine. From your keyboard, if you are giving one combination like Windows key and pause, so you will end up in your system settings window. Here, scroll down and go to your advanced system settings, and one simple setting is also there, settings and adjust for best performance, so that it will not utilize all your RAMs with all those functionalities. Apply OK, and then go to the computer name, and here I will change my computer name. Okay, Win2022 DC. Say OK. So it will ask me for the restart. I will restart one more time. Remember, these steps may look very basic, may look very slow, but these steps are equally important in your whole lab setup. Okay, so we will again re-log in. Let's move on to the next step. So next step is, on our base system network properties, we need to give one IP to our VMnet 2, so that our base system, our physical system, can communicate with our virtual machines. Okay, so I think I have already completed this step, because I was doing this lab setup previously also many times. So if I'm going to, this is my physical machine, so if I'm going to the network properties, change adapter, so you can see over here VMnet 1, 2, 3 are already there. So I'm going to the VMnet 2, because we have chosen VMnet 2 to connect to our VM, if you remember. Okay, forget about this 1 and 3 as of now. And if I'm going to my IP4 over here, you can see I have already given this IP 192.168.1.1. Okay, so my machine, means my physical machine, can communicate with my virtual machine with this IP range. Okay, I'll say cancel over here, because I have already given this IP range. Okay, so this step is already completed. Next is, now inside our Win2022 DC VM, we need to go to the network properties and configure it as IP address 192.168.1.100, subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, and default gateway is 192.168.1.100, and DNS will be 192.168.1.100. Okay, so this network configuration we need to enter in our DC system. Okay, so inside my VM, I will go to my network settings. I will change adapter options, and I will say properties. Remove this IP6 as of now, because we don't want to use it. IP4 192.168.1.100, subnet mask it will automatically take. Default gateway as of now not required, but still we can give it, that will be not a problem. And then DNS server. Okay, so 192.168.1.100. This will be the primary IP of our DC system. Let's say OK twice, and then it will automatically take. Okay, so let's go back to our PPT. And the next step is, we need to disable our Windows firewall of Windows Win2022 DC VM system. Why this is required? Because we don't want any network connectivity clutch or something like that. Our traffic should be allowed from this machine. So I will go to my control panel and small icons, Windows Firewall, and I will disable my Windows Firewall. Okay. Be sure in production network you should not do this. This is a lab setup, that's why I'm doing this. In a production network you should always allow your appropriate ports through your router or through your network to allow the network traffic. Otherwise this firewall should be enabled. Close this. Let's come back here. So the next step we will be just checking the network connectivity with our base system to our VM system. Okay, and vice versa. So I will come back here on my base system. I will open my command prompt and I will say ping 192.168.1.100. that will be our DC system. So it is pinging. Okay, and now I will go back to my VM also. I will open the CMD over here and I will say ping 192.168.1.1 because that will be our base system. So you can ping it from here, right? So network connectivity is fine as of now. Okay, so we have completed step number 33 also and 34 also. Okay, we have checked the network connectivity from both the systems to each other. Okay, now next is we need to enable our remote desktop because in a certain way I'm not comfortable with this particular what I can say, the screen, because it is not full screen. Even if I'm going for the full screen like this, it is still not comfortable enough for me because it is giving me this bar options and all these things. So it's your choice, it's an optional step, but I would rather prefer to choose to enable my remote desktop screen. That will be much more comfortable for me. So what I'm doing is I'm again going back to my system properties window. And here I'll go to the advanced system settings and I will go to my remote, and by default it is don't allow remote connection. I will say allow, and I will remove this advanced level of authentication so that I can take a remote from even from the older version of my operating system. So allow, and I will say okay. Okay, and now close this. Now let's go back to our PPT, and now I can take an RDP session of my Windows 2022 VM guest system through my base system. So I'm coming back here to my base system and I'm opening the run command. Here I'm just typing mstsc. Now you can see it is asking for the password. That means it is taking my RDP session. So as of now I will go for the local admin because this is a fresh machine, so I will put an administrator. Administrator password. First time it may take some time. I will say don't ask and I will say yes. Now you can see my DC system, I have taken my RDP session. So this is much more comfortable for me to manage this DC system from RDP session. Okay,